The informal sector in developing economies like Nigeria is still commonly seen as old school, unskilled manual work for the poor and uneducated, rather than as real work. But what if we told you there's more to this sector than you know?
The informal sector, most people would think that it's just, for example, street vendors or, small businesses that operate from the home. But this can also constitute like very large enterprises that, they are really under the government radar. The government has no idea of, what is going on, in terms of, their financial situation. So they obviously can't tax or regulate them.
The Jobberman Nigeria Report 2024, called Nigeria's Informal Sector, a pathway to sustainable economic transitions for young people, defines the informal economy as all legitimate economic activities that aren't covered or only partly covered by formal institutional arrangements. It encompasses traditional and emerging business and employment structures that are often overlooked or not fully integrated into formal institutions.
Over the years, we've been seeing a trend where we have more and more players coming into the informal sector. Before we had electricians, plumbers, domestic staff as informal guys. But now we see people like aggregators, some other people in the creative space, taking up that informal role and just being between borderline of formal and informal.
We engaged about 8,300 youth across all the regions of the country, including the north, south, and eastern parts of the country. We examined informality in 4 sectors: agriculture, creative, digital, and the artisan sector.
My name is Sadiq Muhammad Sani. I am a livestock farmer. I've been in this business for about 15 to 17 years. I am into it for quite a long time, since when I was a kid up to my secondary school. After my secondary school, I went for my undergraduate studies. I studied agriculture. Normally, everybody see our own business as just a local business. Yes, it is local, but it is not local because it is an organization, it is a registered organization.
Many agricultural businesses and farmers are part of cooperative societies and networks, which, although traditional, are structured and organized, shaping Nigeria's agricultural landscape. They are the backbone of food security, driving the value chain from the farms to the market. There's nothing local about a sector that's key to feeding the nation. The challenge? Few modern training institutions dedicated to equipping young people for productive roles in agriculture and agribusiness. Often, available interventions neglect local innovations in food production and disrupt traditional agricultural employment frameworks.
The Nigerian agriculture sector is predominantly informal, with smallholder farmers making up approximately 80% of the agricultural workforce. So from planting to harvesting, logistics and processing, we can see the impact of the informal sector on agriculture in Nigeria.
My name is Yusuf, but popularly known as Namamansi Shoemaker. I'm living in Kwa and also I born in Kwa Town under the Okintofa local government. I started this business since from grassroots, where I don't have even 1,000 naira as a capital to start this business. but I was very interested to have a business. So I start with a small capital, at least if I could remember, with almost at least 500 naira. I start to go and buy nails and other some little materials that will help me to start practicing how to make a shoe. I start from OP paste, and also gradually I can do more than 3 pieces. I can do more than 10 pieces. Gradually, I have a shop.
Just by default, the fact that the formal economy cannot create enough jobs for the teeming youth population, young people have to create opportunities for themselves. And we found 3 interesting trends that has to do with the growing youth population. The first is that young people are more driven by a sense of purpose and more than ever before. And this is tied to a post-COVID employment reality where they are willing to explore alternative employment channels. So we've seen cases in the north and eastern part of the country where young people study professional courses like engineering, and just for the sake of passion, they would go into agriculture or go into creative businesses.
My name is Miss Mary Jane Okoli, and I'm the CEO of House of Mary Jane and HMD Fashion Academy. Well, my journey so far, I'm actually a graduate of the University of Ibadan. I studied pharmacy. I started from my university days. One thing that made me become a fashion designer is basically because I was trying to provide solution, and being someone that is very meticulous, someone that pays attention to details, I didn't like what I was getting. And then I said, you know what, let me just learn this thing. So the idea was to make clothes for myself, but I started making for myself, and a lot of my friends, colleagues, family, they loved what I was wearing, and that's how House of Mary Jane was born, basically.
I started content creation when I was in my final year in the university. I was struggling with school. I've always struggled with, I was not studying a course that I wanted to study. And I'm a Nigerian. You have to do what your parents want you to do. So I was basically doing what my parents had advised me to do, and it wasn't working for me in a lot of ways.
My dad wanted me to be an accountant. He gave me a lot of ideas why accounting should be what I should pick. I did go to school to study accounting. I did. But then the dance still found me.
I was studying medicine and surgery then. I felt like I wasn't in the right direction and I needed to make money. Like I love fun things, doing fun things. So medicine was like a hectic stuff for me. So after my 4th year in school, writing my MBBS exam, I dropped out of medicine, moved to microbiology. One thing about me, I like to do something exceptional, something different. Being an entrepreneur, I've enjoyed creating things to solve a particular problem for people. And I told people that this year, I'm not just going to be making dresses. I'm going to be looking at women's challenges women have when it comes to dresses and their body. And I'm going to be making dresses to solve such challenges.
Another interesting trend has to do with traditional market and indigenous employment models. So from open markets like the famous Balogun market in Lagos to Kumi market in Kano and Onitsha market in Anambra, traditional trade outlets actually remain the biggest segment in most markets across major value chains. As of 2017, Alaba International Market Lagos, the largest electronics market in West Africa, had its over 10,000 merchants produce about $4 billion worth of turnover every year.
Across Nigeria, there's a strong enterprise culture that places high value on the apprenticeship system and independence through small business startups. The Igbo apprenticeship system stands out as the world's largest business incubator, nurturing some of the biggest tycoons across industries in Africa. Today, this model offers the possibility of a modern training approach to meet the evolving demands of industries. Through hands-on learning, apprentices gain practical insights and hone essential skills like problem-solving and critical thinking.
My name's Honorable Good luck, Joseph Mary. I'm a native of Abia State. A shoemaker, like you can see. I've been in this industry for 38 years. This business started with a cobbler, one man who was cobbling shoes. You know what I mean by that? From patching the shoes, gradually, he came to think about the people that made the shoe. You know, the shoes we were having that time came from Italy and Brazil, some from Spain. Cool. So as he was coupling these shoes, he started to think about on how to make a full shoe by himself. So when this man started this business, started doing it, people had interest to come into the field. Then he started training them. After training you, you train up another person. That person will train up another person. From there, the thing started to expand. And by that time, people had interest. So that interest, because it was fetching money, it was booming by that time. People from Lagos, Onitsha, other parts of this country, they were coming down here to buy. So the apprentices were coming on interest and on choice because the business was booming.
So I've been doing this work for like 2 years now. I learned the work on 2021. So this is my like 3 to 4 years now. With time, once your head is there, you will learn it. Like it's 1 year now, I told him that he will learn the work just 1 year. Unlike me, I learned mine 7 months. So I give him the grace of 1 year to learn the work though.
This is my 3 years learning this work, and we deal on motor parts. Okay, we actually, when I finished my secondary school, so I was planned to enter into a university. But due to the money issues, so I got to stop so that I can learn something. So I just choose the motor parts because I've been hearing about it. You want to serve someone here, that should be 7 years. 7 years, yeah. This business is really paid, but some of us doesn't know. Or they think of how to get sharp money or, all this Yahoo stuff, false stuff. But I'm super proud. I'm super proud of it. It's a very good one. Actually, in future, I plan to start up my own business, at least to be an organ myself, that kind of thing. So, because it's a nice business. It's a nice thing. If you bend down and learn it.
The Igbo apprenticeship system continues to shape individual success stories and has laid the foundation for a thriving entrepreneurial ecosystem. These young apprentices are not just learning to work, they're being equipped to train up the next generation after them.
The creative sector is the second largest employer of labor with a high level of informality. And when you also look at the value chain in the creative sector, it's amazing, right? The amount of job opportunities and work opportunities that exist in that sector.
When I first started, I would call what I was doing an informal job, but now I don't really think it's an informal job.
I think a lot of influencers and content creators are just moving and we're just figuring things out as we go. And also that's because in this part of the world, a lot of people still do not regard content creation as a serious job.
The biggest challenge is acceptance. The environment we live in, like, even my own parents, it took me a while to understand what I was doing. So yes, one of the major challenges is acceptance. We step into a place and then you call yourself a dancer. So now we are looking for tush names, movement artists, performance artists. So you call it a dancer, you look down on you.
Beyond this mixed bag that we're talking about is helping people to see that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being in the informal sector. It's playing a huge role within our economic landscape, and we can't lose sight of that.
I think that the major challenge that, the informal sector faces is the constraint around recognition and some legal framework, which is to say, what are the systems and structures to sort of support the legal framework and recognition for parties in the informal sector.
I've been able to employ up to 30 staffs, some on contracts, some are full-time employments. So currently, I'm actually working with 15 persons, some contracts, some work from the office, some work from somewhere else, but report to the office like 2 or 3 times in a week. Then I have full-time staffs that I also work with.
We have about 100 plus workers, in the market. Some they come in the evening, some they have other work. Then when they are finished with the other work, then they come to the market.
Dancers working with me indirectly, about 2,000 dancers.
We've been able to provide jobs for like so many people. Currently, we have close to 15 to 16 people on our payroll. It's still a small business though, but then again, that is where structure comes in.
The growth in the number of mobile money providers and digital payment agents have expanded financial inclusion by providing digital payment services to informal sector entrepreneurs, enabling them to access financial services and also making transactions easy.
My name is Chinyere. I'm a POS agent. I stay in Ava. I've been doing it for 2 years now. Yes. So every day I come in the morning, customers start coming in. I do, either you withdraw or you do transfer. That's basically. And here we are in market, it's a shoe plaza, they do shoe plaza. People come from different places to buy markets. To an extent, we are the center because when they come, they withdraw and do transfer. Some will do transfer. When you don't have cash, you do transfer.
The widespread adoption of smartphones and mobile apps has enabled informal sector entrepreneurs to access digital tools, information and services, improving their productivity and efficiency, and also their reach.
I posted my first video on TikTok, actually. It was so terrible, but surprised that video is still there. I left it there. It was so terrible. Every time I record that video, I'm like, okay. I posted my first video on TikTok, and it actually got a lot of views. For a first video, that was huge. I think maybe 10K views or something. I remember that video climbing. I'm like, am I a celebrity now? I don't know, but let's see. And then I started fine-tuning it. I just did that for about a year. On my 10th month, I clocked 100,000 followers on Instagram, which was a very huge thing. It still is, actually. And I'm like, okay.
Beyond access to digital tools and a wider reach, digitization plays a crucial role in aggregating informal workers, simplifying the process of hiring, quality control, and resource sharing. This aggregation boosts their visibility, ultimately driving growth and innovation in the informal economy.
The major challenge we have, basically, is lack of data. We don't have enough data about the informal space. We don't know to what percentage. We don't know the number of plumbers we have in Nigeria, and whether we need more or we even need to just manage the ones we have currently. I think that's one of the most crucial things that needs to be addressed first. With that, it helps us know how and what people need. We don't have that. If you look closely at other economies that have informal guys, you find out that they have enough data about them. As simple as their number. They have identity number that it's tied to each person that helps you know more about them. For us, we employ electricians. We don't know where they've been. We don't know where they're from and everything. I think that's a major challenge that we need to address first. How do we collect data? How is it stored? And how do we interpret those data? That's one of the most important major challenge.
Another challenge is also around access to finance. You'll find out that a lot of people in the informal sector find this constraint because, in the first place, they lack the official recognition or statutory status to be able to access some of the credit facility that exists.
Yeah, having money is a key barrier because, why there's a low barrier for entry is because the capital required is low. But despite that being an advantage per se, it's actually a disadvantage when it comes to scale because there are so many businesses. How are they able to scale? How many businesses become bankrupt within a few years of starting?
Because it's hand job, right? There's no constant flow of jobs coming. They can't predict how often jobs will come. Unlike us, that when you get a 9 to 5, they know that you have a job that will pay you a salary every single month. Compared to them, it could be a hit and miss.
So when you're a content creator, you don't have a stable income. Let us start with that. There are months where you feel like you're Dangote, and then there are months where it's like, okay, what's it? It's crickets, right? So you have to find a way to balance it. However, for me as a creator, I think I'm lucky enough to be on YouTube, and on YouTube, when you're monetized and everything, the least amount of money you should make monthly is $100, which is what I do, right? So at least every month I'm sure of $100.
I would say the demand is great, but it can be better, right? And the only way for it to be better is through funding.
We need help from government. Gaskiya, our business is need more support. If we get contribution or we get empowerment from government, so that we can grow our business faster than the situation now we are. Because if now I have capital fast, more than the capital I have, like I have 5 to 4 boys under me, they are working with me. If government help me with the capital, so that I can add another boys, reaching to hundreds boys or past that. Because I have capital that when they come to working place, they have something to do. Due to what? Due to capital.
I know one of my biggest challenges is lights. Being an entrepreneur in Nigeria is really, really crazy. You are suffocating. Sometimes you are not able to breathe. If you say you want to give up, there is no job for you anywhere. By the time you are done paying all those things, paying this, paying that, you're paying your staffs, you are actually buying for 900, 1,000 naira to run your generator. NEPA is giving you this huge bill, and when you ask for prepaid meter, it takes a whole year to get a prepaid meter, and they are giving you automated bills, and sometimes it's not even up to what you actually use. It's not even up to the energy you use for a month.
So let's look at utilities. We don't have power, a stable power. So it is a norm for businesses to spend a lot of money to generate power, to operate their businesses. Let me look at barbers, for example. So barbers, ideally they should be making money. But I think a chunk of their money goes into fueling, because how else will they provide their services without fueling?
We are standing on ourselves. It's only that they have squeezed us with these policies they are making in this country that is not helping us. Before they do any policy, they should examine, they should investigate, they should inquire from the grassroots people whether it will be favorable to them or not. If not so, they should do away with such policies.
I would say that we'll need to have a voice at the table in terms of conversations that are taking place in regards to policy and even this regulation that we just talked about. So you can't institute policies or regulations without the body that you're affecting being at the table. And we're not talking about a token place at the table. We're talking about a rightful seat at the table for us to be able to lend our voices as to what the challenges are and what we think the solutions would be. So it's not a top-down approach, but a bottom-up approach.
Even though we know that the majority of the people in the informal sector are young, educated people, there is still a large set of that target audiences that do not have the entrepreneurial training. And if you really think about it, the reason why you could say, people who have come out of university is that at some point in time, we sort of legalized or found a way to infuse entrepreneurship into higher education so that young people who go through university can acquire some entrepreneurial training to be able to apply business thinking to certain situations.
So I think education plays a big key, especially if you want to grow this ecosystem that we're talking about. There needs to be education. So I think it's time that we have programs that are actually designed specifically for this mixed bag that we have.
So you find out that if your skill set is not that great, you would not thrive so much in the informal sector.
Finding people that are skilled, it's very, very difficult. And those people that are really skilled are expensive. And as a small business owner, you might not be able to afford them. So when I had the skill, I put it upon myself that when I employ people, I still teach them, I train them. Okay, this is how we do this is how we do that. And then they've literally grown with me. And I've had people that have been working here for like almost 4 years, almost 5 years, because they started with me, do you understand? So that's why it is very important that we keep training more fashion designers so that at least there will be so many people in the labor market.
Our percentage here, with those that studied agriculture, with those that didn't study agriculture is, let's say 30 to 70. 30 to 70. In every 10 people, maybe 3. So that is the gap.
There's one, let me say, there's one NGO, or let's say, that is a community or association, or associate. They come to my shop in terms of to do something screening. So they come, they give me challenge as I'm making this business. And what they give me challenge, they say they want to help me in my business, but they want to help one that has a knowledge, at least NC. But why I cannot have a knowledge? They come, they allow me to go and call the another person who can talk to them. And while he is not a shoemaker, I'm a shoemaker. I face this as a very, very great challenge for me. This is why I back to school. I already have by now, I have my certificate, my NCE certificate. And I do it through my business.
So from a policy and advocacy perspective, I believe there are a couple of things that we can take advantage of. I call them the low-hanging fruit. The first would be simplifying business registration processes, but most importantly, incentivizing formalization. This will increase access to formal market, financial services, and even social protection.
There's POS, as they're telling us to go for registration. It's a good development. If there is a way they would make us to be getting higher amounts than the normal individual limit, it will help us to go a long way.
In summary, it requires collective leadership. And why it's important is because this problem cannot be solved entirely by one person. I think that we have a great opportunity to access the largest talent in this region. And we've seen from the research that we've done that young Nigerians are entrepreneurial driven.
Looking ahead, I envision Jobberman playing a pivotal role in Nigeria's informal economy through the following. Of course, we'll continue to partner with agencies, with government, NGOs, and private sectors that are interested in skills development and access to capital, and most importantly, placement within the informal sector. We are doubling down on skills development and training, focusing especially on entrepreneurship training, business management training, and digital literacy training. We will continue to implement initiatives to empower women and youth in the informal sector, specifically addressing gender and age-specific challenges and barriers. Early this year, we launched the She's More campaign, and the goal of that campaign is to train over 500,000 young women in business management, vocational skills and soft skills, and financial literacy, and also to support about 200,000 of them to start their businesses and help them become employers of labor. So we're doubling down on such initiatives. We will continue to do research and development in the informal sector, identifying opportunities for growth and development. And we'll continue to be in the room where we have informal sector advocacy conversations happening so that we can also lend our voice to drive growth in that sector. And finally, we would expand our reach to underserved regions. Right now, we have our footprint in Kaduna, Kano, Adamawa, Ondo, Katsina, Bauchi, Delta, Ogun, Benue, Edo, Lagos, and Oyo states. And we actually plan to do more and expand more into other states.
Business formalization and the transition of informal workers into the formal economy is not a goal in itself, but a means to promote dignified and fulfilling work for all men and women, regardless of where they work and how they prefer to work.